If you have crypto on these types of wallets, you should be moving it because they're getting drained. Let's go through that. There's about $40 million of Bitcoin that has been stolen from a old card, MK3. So we'll go through that. This does not affect Ledger, Treasure, or other hardware wallets, but we'll go through what's happening. We'll also look at what's moving the market today. Bitcoin just fell under 63,000. We have the broader markets actually selling off slightly, but my largest individual holding is up about 14%. My largest stock holding, that is, up 14% after crazy earnings yesterday, which we'll talk about. We have some stocks that were up significantly, now falling down significantly. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. If you want to trade crypto, check out the links in the link tree. To BidFi, we just wrapped this up, but every single month we have $10,000 that you can get just for trading on the platform. So if you sign up now, you can get ready for next month's bonus. There's also a link to Ubit where you can start trading as well. You can trade over 1,000 different assets. They just told me they have 1,000 different assets here on the platform. And there's also a link to BTCC, which has a 10% deposit bonus on your first time deposit. So check those out underneath the video in the link tree. As we can see, markets are red today, which is surprising because last night we actually saw a lot of green in the market. We have oil coming up a couple percent. People are a little bit worried about oil prices still. And the situation with Iran still hasn't gotten better. Really, one of the major things that's bringing down the markets right now is Apple, down 9.4%. One of the major tech companies, and this was just the largest company in the whole stock market. But over the last 2 days, 3 days, it's down 11%. So what exactly happened? Well, they had earnings last night. Apparently, they missed some China numbers. Apparently, they missed their services numbers, and yeah, it's causing the stock to slide. I mean, this still is not expensive, or still is not cheap in my opinion, even with this drop. It's a 37 PE ratio. And sure, the company's really solid. It's a great company, but there's always a price to pay for a company. On the other hand, you have something like MU, which is sitting at a 6 forward PE ratio. And it is down 5% today. Did they have earnings? No. The whole AI sector seems to be selling off a bit today after being green last night. We do have some green in the market. South Korea's Kospi surges nearly 15% as global chip stocks rally. Countries' indices are moving like meme coins, which is just so crazy. To keep in mind, the Kospi is primarily made up of two equities. The majority of the whole index is two positions. Now, we do have some green in big tech. So if it wasn't for Amazon, the indices would be down much more, but Amazon's up nearly 14% after crushing earnings. They beat on revenue by about $3 billion, three and a half. No, $4 billion. Funny when like $1 billion is a rounding error, but yeah, they beat by about $4 billion in the quarter. EPS was much higher than expected. A lot of this is due to their them writing up their gains on Anthropic, which some people would say, well, that's not real money. But the fact is, like, just like a one-off charge for, for tax reasons or for legal expenses, like that actually does affect the business. I think that a one-time investment in a company where you get 100x return also affects the company. Right? Of course, they didn't sell their share in Anthropic, but eventually you have to write it up. Even without this, they still beat expectations of $1.82. AWS revenue came in much higher than expected. So their guidance was maybe a little bit weak moving forward, but still the market loves this. And they increased their top line growth to 20% year over year, which is insane. As a company that's doing $200 billion a year, they're still growing 20% revenue. It's incredible. Their net income increased to $62.2 billion. A lot of this was due to that write-up in Anthropic. They also had operating cash flow that increased by 33% and free cash flow that actually went negative because they're reinvesting so much. But as you can see, if their sales are going up 20% and their operating cash flow is going up 33%, margins in theory going up over time, right? AWS is booming, growing 36.7% year over year in Q2, the fastest growth in 18 quarters or 4.5 years. You have to go back to 2021 to see numbers like this, which is awesome. Look at this. Amazon re-accelerating AWS growth to 37% after 28%, 24%, 2017. Microsoft re-accelerating Azure growth. I mean, it's been around 40% for a while, but now 43%. So they're growing a little bit slower. Keep in mind, they're not investing as much in CapEx as Google and Amazon, but they're still re-accelerating a bit. Google accelerating revenue growth much faster than these other players, but smaller as well. So the major cloud companies are doing fantastic. I'm very happy as a holder of these three companies. These are three of my top 4 holdings. Meta's right in there as well. Amazon also said that they're going to increase CapEx, which should be good for, the Microns of the world, for the Nvidias of the world, but they're still down a bit today. Now, they were up a lot yesterday, so it could just be some people taking a little bit of profits after, a 27% move in a day or 2 days. So it could just be naturally a little bit of a sell-off because of that. Now, moving on to Bitcoin. Cold card wallets are being drained. Roughly about 600 Bitcoin stolen thus far from dormant single sig wallets. You're at risk if you generate a single key wallet on a cold card MK3 from 2021 to 2023. No dice rolls, no passphrase, no multi-sig. Move funds immediately. Cause entropy bug from 2021 firmware rewrite. This does not affect Ledger, Treasure, or other hardware wallets. Stay calm. Rushed moves can create openings for scammers. So if you have a cold card, which I've never even heard of before now, it just looks like a little calculator. If you have a cold card and you get like an email about this, don't click on it. Like if you get a text message, if you don't think you have a cold card, but you get an email about this, like don't click on anything. Like don't let the scammers take advantage of you because you're panicked. If you have Bitcoin residing under a single key that was generated, you should move as soon as possible. There are other people writing about this too, but be careful. Now, what's this mean? This is such a frustrating thing as a Bitcoin investor, even if you don't have any money on these cold cards. The fact that these kinds of bugs continue to come up, it's just annoying because, like, if I was looking for somewhere to put crypto back then, and I picked a cold card because it seemed like it was secure, like I would have no way of knowing that the firmware rewrite would cause my Bitcoin to be drained. Like that's just stupid. Normal everyday people don't know how to protect themselves against this. Even obviously developers didn't, and like millionaire investors didn't because they wouldn't have put money into these. So it's a really frustrating thing. That's one of the great things about Bitcoin is self-custody. And it's also probably the scariest thing and the most stressful thing about Bitcoin is self-custody because it can be stolen. It can be, someone can show up to your house and say, give me it. And hopefully you have it protected well enough that you can't. But that can also lead to concerns, which is why I say for most people, it probably makes sense to have the majority of your Bitcoin in an ETF. I know that's not like in the spirit of Bitcoin and F the system and keep the money away, keep the Bitcoin away from the banks and all that stuff. But for most people, they're investing in Bitcoin for investment returns. They're not investing in Bitcoin so that they can take their money overseas if there's like some war breaking out in their country. At least like the Western world is not really focused on that. A lot of the Western world trying to buy Bitcoin to get better results, better investment gains than other assets. So I think moving money over to something like IBIT or FBTC or pick your ETF, I think that makes more sense long term because they're going to be, I think, much more secure than something like you putting your crypto on some random hardware wallet. Let me know your thoughts on that, though, underneath the video. I know that can be controversial. And that's the market today. Apple crashing, Amazon pumping. The markets are a little bit volatile these days, which is it's fun if you're a long-term investor. I think you can make really good returns if you're willing to look past the noise. We did have strategies earnings yesterday. Um, Honestly, I didn't watch it. I don't think it's too important, especially compared to other companies. They buy Bitcoin. They talk all the time about what they're doing, and yeah, maybe there's some good questions in there. If you heard a good question, you listen to it, let me know, and maybe I can explore their answer. And we had Coinbase earnings. I think I hit on that last night as well. Coinbase looking kind of rough, but it's a bear market. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. If you do want to trade, check out the links in the link tree, and I'll see you in the next. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm never going to reach out to you either in the comment section or through any other means to try to get you to invest in something that I'm investing in or to send me crypto. Some links underneath the video are affiliate links. I may earn a commission, but this is at no extra cost to you. Of course, do your own due diligence.